All right, I think we are live. So, hello everyone. To the next episode of Liferay dev.life. That is the online sessions that bring to you technologies related to Liferay, and not only Liferay, but everything else that we happen to use and contribute to. The guy is talking to you next around the corner of the screen. It's me. My name is Milan Yankov, and I'm honored to be the host of this show. The part of the developer relations team at Liferay, which is responsible for bringing knowledgeable people to you to talk about interesting stuff. And the interesting stuff is mostly related to one of those products that you can find on community.liferay.com/projects, which is the page that links you to all of the projects that we're working on. And you came here probably through our meetup, or at least most of you. For those of you who found us in some other way, I just want to let you know that there is a meetup page that is at the meetup, the Liferay dev.life EMEA. That's because we're targeting the time zone of Europe, Middle East, and Asia. So you should definitely sign up there, and this is where we're going to notify you when new dev.life episodes are coming. There's also a bunch of other Liferay user groups around the world, and if you are more interested into actually getting into more face-to-face communication or local events, you should search for one of those, or you can create one if you think there is enough interest in your region. All this on the meetup page, and you see the URL. For today's session, as for every other session, we want to keep it as interactive as possible. So there are two ways you can actually talk to us. One is the comments on the YouTube next to the video that you're currently watching. You can use that, or you can go to our dev.life channel on the community chat, and we'll be monitoring both of those. And at the end of the sessions, all of your questions, we'll pass them to the speaker who can answer. Also, you can use those channels to let us know if something's going on that needs immediate fixing, like video quality or lost sound or whatever. Just let us know. I'll be monitoring those through the whole session. With that in mind, that was the my usual 3-minute introduction for those who don't know how things work around here. We're ready to move to today's session, which is the Liferay Commerce for busy developers, which is brought to you by Marco Leo, who is the team lead at Liferay, working on the new coming product, Liferay Commerce, which may actually come under the new name, but I'll let Marco tell you all about it, including the name. Hey, Marco, how are you?
Hi, Milan. Good. Thank you for introducing me.
All right, the stage is yours.
Thank you. Let's start. And hello, everyone. So, as Milan said, I'm Marco Leo, software architect in Liferay and team lead of Commerce. The team is based. Most of the guys working in the team is based here in Italy, and it's really a pleasure to talk about commerce to you. So first, I will introduce you the team members, so you know who is shipping this product. There is me, Corbin, product manager, Brady Giorgi, Alessia Rendina, Luca Perizzone, Alessandro Iovane, Andrea Censi, Giacomo Zinetti, Zoltan, Ryan, Neil. So this is the team. Thank you to this guy, we was able to ship Liferay Commerce. And let's start. I have a quick note before starting going deeper that we had a technical problem last week. So everything, guys, that you will see is not public yet. We were supposed to open source Commerce last week, but for technical reason, we had to delay to next week. So really sorry for this drawback, but we are working for make it up soon. So let's start. First of all, what is Liferay Commerce? Liferay Commerce is a digital commerce platform. I would highlight this because Liferay Commerce is not a framework, and it is not a bunch of plugins that you use to build your custom solution. Liferay Commerce is a full platform that brings more than 20 new widgets to our enterprise portal. So this makes it ready to use commerce, right? Liferay Commerce is based on top of Liferay. So all of you that are familiar with Liferay development methodology will be just feel at home, right? So just to be clear, Liferay Commerce is not shopping ported 2.0 or an add-on. We built it from the ground up to complete the digital experience platform solution, right? So yeah, I ended with the marketing stuff. Let's start with speaking about commerce. So this is just a quick highlight of Liferay Commerce features, going from catalog management, where we see catalog and content management, workflow, product classification, relation, and supporting different product types, like for physical or digital items. We do support multi-currency. We integrate with all of Liferay features that you know, like web experience, and we have discount, promotion, tax management, organization account management, real-time inventory management, shipment manager. So it feels like a real commerce solution. I will start with a product overview. So let's start with catalog management, right? I would switch console and going to the home page of our commerce. Okay, the first thing that we see is that we have dashboard here. We have dashboard in how our business is going. We have dashboard in what are our forecasting for orders, and which one are my open orders that I have to work with, right? So this is how Liferay Commerce look at first start. But let's start first in the manage section. So you will see a commerce item under the product menu, right? Where you will see all the menu that we make available. Going in catalog, it will bring you in the catalog management section. In this section, you can manage option and products and all categorization, right? So let's start in trying to add a product and see which one is the experience. So we click on the plus button, we choose the product type. In this case, I'm going to create a simple product, and I have to insert a name for my product, right? Let's call it USB. I have to just, write a description. I have copy and pasted already. And then I just have to input SEO information if I need, or friendlier, but all the required things to create a product was done. At this point, we can just start in previewing it, right? This is how it looks. This is how it looks a product detail without actually any information, just with the name, a default SKU, and description. So let's start adding features to this product. Let's start with options, right? So an option is something that are familiar with commerce may know about. Most commerce there call it attributes, option, really feature set. So it depends on which solution you are using to. But an option is something that the user has to choose while purchasing your product. So option can characterize your product, right? So let's add an option. I pre-created a color option, and I'm adding it to the product. As I see here in the option detail, I can insert a name, or I can choose a field type. This field type is the actually UI control that is used to render my option to the front store. Right? So I'm deciding to use a select from list, so it will show a combo box allowing the user to select from different values. And the values that I will insert are those. Let's add white and yellow. Right. So that's it. Now I have a product with an option color with 2 values. Let's refresh the page and look in front what's up around. Okay, now I see a new control here that is exactly a combo box that allowing me choosing between 2 different options. Okay, as you may have figured out, I added this option as a SKU contributor. What this means? In Liferay Commerce, each product has a SKU related. A SKU is the actual item that is mapped to your inventory. So it's the real product code that you guys are selling, right? It's the code that is tracked in your warehouse and you're tracking inventory and pricing to it. Okay, as you see, as soon as I added an option as a SKU contributor, my default SKU went inactive. So what I have to do now? I have to create new SKUs. I can auto-generate the SKUs, or I can add manually. Right? Let's just let the commerce generate them for us. And right now, I have auto-generated 2 SKU, one yellow and one white, that are mapped to the color option, right? White and yellow. So quite nothing changed here. Just now, when I change the color attribute, I see that the actual SKU is changing, right? So just selecting, you see that the SKU is selected. Let's try to add an image to the product. So let's add a USB image and let's associate it with the color white, right? Let's create another image and we will relate this image with the yellow color. Let's publish it. So what's happened now to the front store? I will see the 2 images right now. So I can switch between images. I can zoom those images and I can now select, the color and the main images will update. Perfect. So I just configured all the content that I needed. Now let's deal with pricing. As you can see, by default, the price is 0. So let's go deeper. I am entering in the SKU detail where I can manage manufacturer per number or global trade item information like, GTIN or EAN or standards. Now to change the price, there is a pricing tab where I can change the base price of my product. So let's change it. Let's put to 50 euro. So now I am saying that my white USB cable will cost $50. And even here, I can override the yellow one. And I can say that the yellow one, it will cost 20, right? So how this will affect my front store? This will affect now that when selecting white, I will have $50 here, while select yellow, I will have $20 here. So things are just updated. Here I can manage as well inventory and override of the dimensions information. As well, I can associate price lists, but we will see later in this conversation. So let's go back to the product detail page and let's see what else we can do. We can add specifications. Specifications are static information that help us in structuring your data in a way that we can use feature like filtering or compare, so we help you standardize your data. We can manage attachments that are documents that are related to your products. We can manage different kind of product relation, making static relationship between products for different purposes like upselling, cross-selling, related products. We do like a product is an asset for your Liferay developers, so you can categorize it. And this is just standard Liferay categorization, so asset category and tags. And you can configure it. Okay. In this section, you can decide how your product will behave in the front store. Like you can decide an inventory engine. Inventory engine is used to track your inventory, to get the live data from your warehouses, or just read from the offline system. By default, our inventory engine will read the data from our warehouses, but you can just implement your own inventory engine and connect to your own system live. We can decide a low stock action for the product. This means that whenever the stock quantity of my product go down to the minimum stock quantity, then this action will be triggered. In this case, this will set the product as not published, right? But again, this is a clear extension point that we will see later, actually, an example of implementing this, what means. So I will leave for later. And as well, we can allowing back order for cases where we don't have clear inventory management, so we won't allow ordering our product even when there is not availability. We can choose minimum order quantity, maximum order quantity, that are all settings that will allow us configuring our product in the store. We can override shipping information for the product, so we can decide if a product is shippable, if it's free shippable, if we have to ship separately, or we can add extra price to the shipping and information for the package itself. So with those information, we are able to calculate the shipping cost for you. We can select a display page for a product. A display page will basically create a landing page for your product, and you can customize your layout with the look and feel that you decide, right? And as well, we do manage tax category, so we can associate a product to a particular tax category for tax calculation purposes. Okay, so basically we saw what means creating a product. Let's start adding to the cart, right? So now I'm trying to add cart, but it say that this is required, so let's choose it. Let's choose Y, and here I have. Okay, so I can now navigate my catalog and check for my product. And as I have many variants, it's saying that, hey, you have many variants, please check yours. Now I'm going here, or I can just add a product to a compare list, and I can compare products. As I was saying, the specification stuff help us in structuring your comparison data model. So we are able to do this feature. What else? So this is basically our base catalog management. I didn't go too deeper because it will require too much time right now. And I show you a basic navigation and adding to cart. So next step. Next step is about core commerce feature. What means for core commerce feature? Let's speak about discount, promotion, price strategy, right? Let's see how it looks. So first, I will highlight the settings section. In the settings section is where we do configure our commerce to look and behave as we want. Here we can configure countries that are allowed to, where we are allowed to build or ship, or the countries that we want to manage. We can just, drop or just leave 2-3 countries. In that way, during the checkout process, just that country will be selectable for your user. And we do support regions, so you can configure again the regions that you can activate or not. And okay, this is for countries. We do support multi-currency, so it means that you can manage many currency as you want. You can create your own currency even, and we have an exchange rate concept. So all the prices in your store will be shown with the primary currency, unless you don't configure differently. And the currency will update the exchange rate to the primary currency using the exchange rate provider. You can configure this provider to how to update your currency exchange rate, and you can decide which provider you use. Out of the box, we have the integration with European Central Bank, but again, you can just implement your exchange rate provider and use your own logic for this, right? So this is how currency works. I will bring health checks. Let's go in measurement units. Measurement units are the configuration, the place where we configure dimensions and weights, right? So we can add new dimensions. We can configure the relative to primary. In this way, we are able to convert from inch to millimeters or all the units that you want to manage. And you can decide actually if the information that you're putting in your catalog are from inches or meters or other measurement units. We do the same for weight, so we support grams, pounds, kilos, ounces, and so on. Here we have, for commerce, we have the concept of notifications, and this place allows us managing all the kind of different notification that we send from commerce action. What this means? For example, let's create a notification template. A notification template is just a template of an email, and that has a type. Okay, so let's just select order placed type. When we do select a type, we have definition terms, right? So right now we can create an email template that will be sent when our order is placed, right? And even we can segment this notification to which user will be sent with the concept of user segment that we'll see later. In this way, you are able to manage different kind of emails for different kind of user for the same action. Right? We do support notification queues. What it means? It means that once a notification is sent, it is not actually live sent, but it is queued. It's queued, and you can preview here. You can stop, resend, and check what's going on in your store. Right? Here you can configure order workflow. Order workflow are the different workflow that we use during the order placing. We do support two different kind of workflow for the order, and is the approval workflow and the transmission workflow. Approval workflow is all that happen before an order is placed from the buyer, and just place the order and go to the seller. So all that happened before the placing of the order goes within the approval workflow, and all that after in the seller step is in transmission workflow. With this workflow, we can manage, really particular solution where you have buyer as organizations and you have many users involved in the creation of an order, and you need to create a workflow for approval. And there are users that are allowed to pay, users that are allowed just to add items to order, and right. So this is standard Calio workflow, so nothing new to Liferay developers. Okay, let's go ahead and see payment methods. Okay, payment methods are the engines that we use for the payment process, and we do configure them here. So during the checkout process, you will be asked to choose between a payment method, and those are the one that we do support out of box, but you can easily implement your own, and today we will see how. So I will leave this for later. We can decide how our shipping is calculated. So we can say, hey, all our items go out from a particular address, just a single address, or we have to choose the closest warehouse, right? When we choose this, we see a new tab, warehouses, that is enabled. In this tab, we manage the different warehouses for our store, and we can add the geolocalization concept to this. So while the checkout is happening, we are able to pick the item from the closest warehouse, right, of your shipping address. This logic is configurable. So if you have particular logic, you can just put your own. Speaking about shipping, we do support different kind of shipping methods. So as payment methods, here you see a list of out-of-box shipping methods. You can implement your own if you want. Just let's look how it looks. We support flat rate, variable rate, FedEx. Variable rate means that we do have the concept of shipping option here, right? So those are static information. Let's say an option is kind of shipping by courier, okay? And okay, so and other option could be by year. Okay, so during the checkout process, if the shipping method is enabled, those two options will be showed to the user during the checkout. Let's configure those options, adding logic. So we have the concept of shipping option settings. So let's start adding. What we add? We have to select a shipping option and a warehouse, or just leave empty for warehouse, right? And we can select a country and even region, right? So at this point, I can select even the zip code. So I'm saying that if the user chooses the shipping option and the weight of my shipping goes from 10 pounds to 100 pounds, then the shipping cost will be fixed and it will be of $2, right? And I can create rules with this. I can just leave zip code empty. So that means that the whole region will apply this rule, or even I can leave the region empty and this rule apply to whole the country. And I can have different weights. So it's just the logic that we apply is written here. It's a really simple computation. So in this way, you can input a list import a list of shipping option costs. The alternative to this is to use flat rate, where you can just add a flat rate for your shop, like hey, it costs $20 always, or you have to integrate with the external gateway, right? The FedEx in this case. When you go inside FedEx, you see configuration, and you have to configure your FedEx provider. So you have actually to input your URL, password, or your FedEx API and configure it as FedEx documented. Or you can just write your own. Right? The same logic applies for taxes. So I will not go deeper in this. And and that's it. So those are the basic configuration that we can do in our commerce. Now, how I say, let's try to see how Liferay Commerce manage pricing, right? So if we go back in the catalog, okay, let's clear this. Let's add something to the cart. Okay, let's check out. I can select an address, and I have an order summary. So let's say that is $80, and bam, I have the order. Now, what is happening? It's happening that in my settings, I didn't configure any payment, and I didn't configure any shipping method. So it's just a plain checkout process, right? Okay, so let's see how I can change the price strategy of my commerce. In Liferay Commerce, we have the concept of user segments. That a question that many people do me are not the user segment of audience targeting, but in future version, we are thinking to create a standard user segmentation for the portal. But right now, it's a different user segment for different purposes. Creating a segment is quite easy. You can just add a segment name, And inside the test segment, you can add criteria. A criteria out of box, we do support this kind of criteria. Again, you can implement your own criteria with your own logic for segmented users. So let's just say that, hey, all the users that belong to a certain organizations, okay, like all the bear users, and let's add other criteria, and all the users that belong to a particular role, okay? So all the owners. So all the owners that belong to that organization will be inside this test user segment. These allow us to create main user segment for different purposes, and we do use for price computation, for discount computation, or for catalog rules. Okay, so let's start with catalog rules, because catalog rules is what is the feature that we use to hide products or to allow products to our customer while buying. So a catalog rule is a rules for the catalog that will decide if you can see a product or not, right? So we are speaking about permissions. Creating a rule is quite easy. You can add a name, choose a type. Out of box, the unique type that we have right now is by categories, but you can implement your logic and just, you can have your own ERP logic imported here as well. And we have a separate, vocabulary for visibility, and that's it. So now what is happening? I activate. I can select user segment to this. So let's say, hey, all the guests, right? What I just did, I allowed to the guest user to be able to see all the products that belong to this category. That's it. So now I can combine user segment, I can combine categories, and I can even create new catalog group styles that are able to read, expand, or just read your logic from here. This is something up to you. So with catalog rules, we decide the visibility of a product, and with price list, we decide the base price of a product. What a price list is exactly the concept of, I don't know who of you is familiar with the with ERP systems, but these are exactly the price list concept of ERP. So it's a set of products that have a particular price in this context. So when you create a price list, you have to decide a currency. Right? Let's say that is the same of the primary. If you decide a currency that is different from the primary store currency, then auto conversion of pricing will happen using the exchange rate provider. Now you can select segments for this price list. So you can say, hey, this price list just apply to guest user, right? So I can just publish it, and I can start adding my products, right? I can just search for product, let's just add 3 of those. And now I just created a price list for the user guest, and I am able to override the base price for this product for that user segment. So let's say that if you're a guest, actually you will pay this product 200, right? And that's it. We just created a new catalog rule that allows our guests to navigate our catalog, limited to a certain categories, and we just created a different price list for guest users. Now, you can have as many price lists as you want. You can schedule, and there are workflow for a point of price list, so it's quite complex. You will see in the documentation how it works deeper. Another stuff to highlight here is the concept of type price. We support type price. type price means that we change the base price of the product depending on the quantity that you're adding to your cart. So we can say, hey, if you are buying 10 of this item, your price will be, let's say, 190. And we can add other type and say, but you will pay 180 if you buy 100 of these, and so on, right? So we can have how many as we want. So now if a guest user that is allowed to see this product thanks to the catalog rules come here and add this product to cart and add 100, it will pay each one 180. Okay, so this is how we choose the best price for the product, and we do support as well the concept of promo price. A promo price is basically an override, UI override of the base price. Is just to highlight to the user that there is a promo going on, right? So at this level, we are speaking of base price yet, right? There are discounts as well. Discounts are used, to create discounts. As you can imagine, we apply discount to different targets. We can apply discount to products, to shipments, subtotal, so on. And there are a lot of configuration that I will not go deeper today because we don't have time. And that's it. In this way, we are able to, we discussed about core functionality, and we created an order. So let's see how we customize our commerce. Let's see what it means, right? So Liferay Commerce is done whole of Liferay, right? So you can just imagine. Let's add a new set of product that will be displayed just on page, right? So I have to highlight 4 products that the user has to choose, or that are a particular category, and I want to highlight this product here in the home page. Typical use case. So let's add a product publisher to our page. Okay, right now product publisher will display all my products, and let's configure it, right? Let's say in product selection, we can choose manual selection, and we can add entries, right? So let's decide few of this. Okay, now we added those, and we are seeing just this, right? For the commerce product, we added the concept of custom rendered. So for each commerce product, you can use ADT as you are familiar. So you can just manage template, create your own ADT, or you can just create a custom render. A custom render is a component that will allow you customize how the product are displayed. And this happens to 2 levels, to the list level or to the item level. So adding a new product list rendered, you will change how the products are displayed in the list, and adding a new product type and render, you will change actually how the product is displayed. So let's just choose, the default one. Now we are using the default one. Let's choose a different one that we developed for our barrier team, and you see that the product just changed, right? So right now, we are just using the standard list render, and we are using a custom item render. But what is it, right? A render is just a component. So let's try to do exercise, and let's create our own list render to create a slider of products. I don't know, something like this. Okay, so let's start. I have a module here, a demo, and I will create a new class. Okay, and I will call it demo product list renderer. Okay, perfect. So as I say, it is a component, and we'll have a service that is CP content list renderer. Okay. What is it? This service is what we use to create, our own renderer. So let's implement this service. Okay. Actually, for implement it, we have just few methods. Now my IntelliJ is not typing. Okay, perfect. So we have a get key method. We have a get label method, and we have a renderer method. Okay. What is happening here? A key will identify our render in our OSGIV moment. So this is the key for this component. So let's call it demo list renderer. And the label will just return the same label. Okay. Okay. So okay, and the render method will be used to render a custom JSP or whatever, we can render a free marker of velocity template or soy template, whatever we need. In this case, we are just going to render a JSP, and we will use the JSP renderer. Okay, so this is our reference, and perfect. So we do render, and this is asking to us for a server context. Okay, so we have to create. We have to inject here the servlet context of this module, because the JSP of this demo will be inside this module, right? So we have to say where he is. Okay, and this is done using the reference annotation and the target property. Okay, target, and inside the target we have to put osgi.web.symbolic name equal symbolic name equal perfect, and we have to copy the symbolic name of this module, right? Perfect. So we are able to give this servlet context. We can pass the request, we can pass the response, and we can put the path of our JSP. So we are going to create a list renderer JSP under the main path, and we can just set to this.jsp. Okay. This is throwing an exception, so just let's double it. Okay. So right now I'm saying, hey, I have a new component that will be used to display the list of my product, right? And okay, so what is happening here? And just we are forgetting about the properties. So the two properties here are blah blah blah. Okay, we have to define the key of this. So it's commerce product content list render content. And rare dot key. Okay, and we are just going to put the same. And let's put other property. Oh, we are forgetting here. That is a render portrait name. Dot name. This portrait name will tell to Liferay Commerce which one is the portrait that is allowed to use this custom render, right? So we are just going to use the publisher portlet. Okay, so cp portlet keys dot cp publisher web. So as you can see, it's really Liferay friendly. Okay, now let's go to the list render, and I have already prepared the list rendered, so I will, just copy so you can see. In a way, don't bother you too much, guys. Okay, and let's see. This IntelliJ is not recognizing my results. Perfect. What is happening here? I just created a new JSP that will, list my catalog entries that I'm receiving from the contest where I am. So depending on the configuration of my product publisher, and I am actually designing a standard bootstrap carousel here, right? So, it's just a list, and I am rendering a catalog entry here. So nothing special, but this allows me, let's try to deploy this component and see what's happening. Okay, so deploy. We'll fill it. And I'm forgetting something. We'll fill it. Okay, I know what is it. Before deploy. Because I have a shortcut for deploy that use a different profile. So I have to use a standard gradable deploy. So let's wait for deployment ending. And let's check if we did good. As you can imagine, I prepared this first. And render it, list render it. Let's compare it. Yeah, I forgot something for sure. It was normal. I forgot to set my helper that will allow, that I was using in JSP. Here I have my logic. Okay, let's redeploy. And now it should just work. Okay. Almost done. Okay. Let's take my logs. There is an error here. We'll fill it. Okay, just let's take this. Sorry. Okay. Now this will allow me selecting this rendered inside the configuration of my product publisher. As soon as this get deployed, let's see if it works. Okay, build successful. Let's wait for the component to start. Okay, component started. So now if I refresh my page, I will be able to select a new product list rendered that will display a bootstrap slider. So this is used. This can be done actually with ADT. It's just a different way to do. So we have control it. The JSP is compiled. We can easily update and migrate throughout every moment. So I can do the same for the item rendering. I will not do today, but is quite the same. So I will go faster and showing another extension point. And this extension point is for the checkout. Okay, let's create a custom checkout step. Okay, let's see how easy it is to interact with the checkout process. So I have already here an example. So you will see the checkout. Let's copy it. So as you can see, it's just other service that is called commerce checkout step, and you can extend a base commerce checkout step that does quite logic. And all that you need is add your logic for the rendering a JSP, and process the action. So when you push the next button, the continue button during the checkout step, this process action will be eaten. So you can do basically all you want here. Okay, let's add this JSP. Okay, resources. I don't know why it looks so random checkout step. Okay. So this checkout step. And all that this view does is this is my custom checkout step. Okay, so let's deploy it. Let's deploy this module, and if everything goes good, as we hope, as soon as this module gets started, okay, stop and started, we'll see a new checkout step demo here during my checkout process. So I can just continue, and hey, this is my checkout step. So when I hit here continue, the logic that I will put in my process action method will be eaten. So it was really easy. Now, before moving forward to data integration, let's see how easy a payment engine. Okay, so let's move here. What we will do now is creating a new payment engine that will be displayed under the payment method section. Okay, so as you already know, I created this, so I will just copy. So we go faster. Okay. I will just pass here a payment engine, and we'll show you the code. So a payment engine again is other component that implement the commerce payment engine service and that expose a few methods for cancel payment, complete payment, get description, render configuration is used for the admin part, starting payment, and so on. And all of those are called by the Liferay Commerce, and there will be a documentation that will explain exactly what's put here, but as well as open source, you can just take a source code of the people and see how we use this. But just deploying this component, you will see, for the one of you that doesn't know, if in the Gradle deploy you put a -a, your deployment will be much faster. So I think it started. Okay, as I deployed the component, I see a new demo payment method here. I can change the name, I can add restriction, and I can activate. As soon as I activate, I can go back in my checkout step. Okay, let's do other order. Let's check out, and you see a new payment tab. Okay, and oh, I see my demo payment method to be able to select it, and now there is my demo checkout step, and okay, I was able to complete my order. Okay, so as you can see, it's very easy. So let's see other few extension point, let's try to add a new low stock activity. A low stock activity, as I said before, is the action that happens when the stock of a product go under the minimum stock quantity level. Okay, and you are able to choose those here. So let's see. Let's create low stock activity that when the stock of a product go down the limit, it send an email. Okay, it's saying to the administrator, hey, look, it's down. So to do this, we can see another extension point of Commerce that is the notification. So we will create for this case a new notification type that will, okay, as you saw first, this notification concept is another component that you implement, and you are able to create a new notification type that will be available to you in selection during the creation of a notification mail. And all that you need to do is just get the definition terms, so in this case, we are saying, hey, this is the product name, right? And having a method that fills the terms, so it receives the terms, it knows what to do, and it knows what to take from the entity, right? And that's it. So doing this, we will create in our own time a new notification type that we can select for creating new emails, right? So let's see how it works. Just created one. Okay. Started. So I can go in settings, notifications, notification templates, and I can add a new template, right? And I can select a type, hey, demo. So let's create. And this is product under stock. Okay, let's copy it. And we can choose from name. So Marco Leo. Sorry, this is address. So marco.leo@liferay.com. Leo, this is done because so we can localize for a different language name. Like for Chinese, we can put a Chinese string here. And okay, we can put product under stock, and we can choose the product name, right? And we can say is under stock, and we save it. Okay. We have to enable it. If not, it's not going to be centered. Perfect. Now, what's happened when somebody or something in my code will send this notification? This template will be used. Okay, so let's create a new low stock activity that will be used for this purpose, right? So let's go in the dev product and let's go here in low stock activity. So just let's create a new action there. And I will copy the class. Okay, here, as you can see, we just implement a commerce low stock activity service. If you're wondering, all of those services are documented. So you will see the full list of supported extension points. And the only thing that we need to do is implement this check method that will just implement our logic for our activity. In this case, we are just getting the product from our inventory that we received. And we just call the commerce notification helper, adding our demo commerce notification type key. So this is saying to the notification engine, hey, let's send this notification with this product. And what I think is missing here, okay, different package. That's it. So let's deploy. Okay, let's wait for deployment. But if we refresh the page, we will see a new low stock action available, and we can use this. So we just created a new notification template that will type that will be used for this low stock activity. So all commerce extension points are easy as the one that I just showed to you. And I will show you the last step, and is about data integration. For data integration proposed for commerce, we developed open talent component. So we are getting in world of enterprise service buses and data integration tools. And the first one that we decided was to use open talent, as they are an history similar to our in Liferay. Opening open talent, it looks like this. In this demo, we will read an Excel that contains many product lists. Sorry if I don't have fantasy for the demos, guys. So my Excel is like this. So I have a price list code, priority name, currency. I will read this Excel and I will map to our remote entity in Liferay Commerce. Then I will read those entities and write it in a stream that we can send email or whatever. So the nice aspect of using an enterprise service bus or a data integration tool is that we have a lot of out-of-box components like reading from Excel or reading from Salesforce, a lot of database type, right? So we can just implement our own custom logic as we need, right? So let's try. What means? Let's read an Excel. I pre-configured the metadata type. So let's drag and drop our input Excel here. So this basically this component is saying, hey, take, sorry, I have to say, actually, which one is my Excel? Okay, price list two. Okay, it's generating a preview of my data. Perfect. And yes, perfect. So yeah, I just created a new metadata that is reading my Excel and is streaming, for example. Let's try. Let's read from Excel and log those down in the console. Okay, let's see what's happened. Let's run the job, and I'm seeing that, hey, those are the data that are in the Excel that I actually want to import in Liferay. For do this, we have Liferay components in the palette. And in this case, we are going to use, a Liferay output component. Let's configure this Liferay output component. What we have to do is just inserting our endpoint URL, localhost 80 / API. This is the endpoint of the new APIs. And let's insert user, clone, password that we connect. And we can say, hey, I want to insert those data exactly in one site, right? And the site that I want to use, sorry guys. Okay, the site that I want to use is buried, that one that we was testing first. Okay, so now I have to select the resource, and those are the resources that are available right now, and I am selecting price listing. Okay, what I do now, there is no schema yet, right? So I am saying, hey, for this site, for this resource, calculate the schema. This operation will input the schema information inside my component. So I am seeing that for the price listing, I have display date, priority name, currency information, external reference code, and so on. Perfect. What I have to do now is just map the two components, Excel and my output. And for do this, I use a map component, right? So I am reading from Excel, I am logging it, I am mapping it to our output component. This is getting the schema. And all that I have to do now is, actually has the name are very similar. I can how to map those. And let's map this price list code with the external reference code and say that, hey, this never expired, okay? So that's it. I'm done, basically. Let's try it. First, as I saw in the log, in the Excel, there are like empty lines in the button, so we have to filter those lines. For do this, we can use a filter component that we will find soon. There is a filter something. Filter row. Let's add inside the stream, and let's say, hey, I don't want import the one that has price list code empty. Okay, and okay, let's execute this. So as I'm importing price listing, we'll move in the price list, and those are the price lists that I run now. And this one is my Excel, right, that I'm trying to import it. So let's run my job. And if I configured everything correctly, and I will use an if, let me say that, okay, because the Excel type is reading this as an integer, but it is a string, right? And maybe if it takes that wait, priority, external reference code. I didn't see the error, sorry. Type image cannot convert from integer to string. Okay, let's go here. Let's change the schema of this. And let's change it to a string. This is because when we read from an Excel, you know, things like this happen, you may know. So it's a string. Okay. So now I should see a string. Perfect. Let's try. Starting, I'm reading the Excel, I'm logging the data, and I'm pushing there. So if we go to our remote site, I should see those price lists here. So we correctly imported our data from an Excel to our Liferay just with drag and drops. If we replace the Excel endpoint with a Salesforce input, we are able to read data from Salesforce and integrate them with Commerce or whatever, right? We can use all the connector that OpenTalent gives to us. I have a full example here that I already did first, that I think is this one. Okay, in this example, I just recreated this and I just added a Liferay input example that reads the price list and input to Excel. So this job does it vice versa. So we have a Liferay input that we allow you reading data from our endpoint and inserting your database or whatever you need, sending emails, or even you can connect those to enterprise service bus even. So you're really open to do all that integration process that you want. Perfect. I think that I speak quite a lot today. It's more than an hour. So I hope, guys, that everything was clear. I'm sorry if I'm running so fast, but there are, as you can see, a lot of information to show, and it's quite difficult to show all of those in 1 hour. So I hope that this is the first of a series of streaming for commerce. So if you have any question, I'm here for answering. And Milan, there?
All right. Thank you very much. It was very interesting. I must admit, I myself didn't know for a lot of those things. So very happy to see this. Let me see how we are dealing with questions. There is a question on YouTube, which is, are the custom renders also available outside Commerce as an alternative to ADT?
Let's say that this is a new pattern that we implemented for commerce. And speaking a few days ago with others, we are thinking to implement those to extend ADT actually, right? But right now, those are available just for commerce portrait, for product publisher, product details. So all the portrait that we do support ADT, we do support custom render as well, in a way that we just try to make the system integrators' life easier in this way.
I see. Okay, so I don't see any more questions. I have one of my own, which I'm going to ask. And meanwhile, if you guys have more questions or any thoughts or anything you want to share, please use the YouTube channel, the chat, or the dev.life channel on the on Slack, the community Slack. You have the links underneath in the description. So my question is, how is it, so Commerce is obviously built on top of the portal, but how it is distributed? Is it like a plugin for the portal, or is it going to be like a separate product, or?
It is a separate product, so we will have, it sits in a side of our DXP. We will have two versions of it. We will have the open source version that is named Emporio, Liferay Emporio, and it will be available to download, or you can just compile from source and deploy on your actual Liferay portal, or you can just start a new bundle. While for our DXP customer, we have a different way to install it on top or an existing 7.1, or they can just download a full bundle of Commerce.
All right, that sounds good. I don't see any more questions, so I guess this is going to be for today. Thank you, Marco, very much for the nice demo.
Thank you.
It was so cool. For the rest of you guys, let me just switch my slides back, and if I can find my cursor. Hey, where is my mouse? Here it is. Oh, I'm not sharing my screen anymore. Here we go. All right. So for everyone who is watching us live now, and those who have been with us before, you know that this is the time where I typically announce the next session. And as of today, I will not do that because there is no next session, at least not planned yet. We are still debating whether we should continue with the series through the summer period, or we should take something on the form of a summer break. So if you're interested in either of the two options, feel free to let us know what your preferences are at the Slack channel, the dev.life Slack channel. We would like very much to hear from you. How do you think we should proceed with that? Regarding the Liferay Commerce, or Emporio, which is the open source product, we will create a page for it as soon as it's released. And let me show you. This is the Liferay community site, which we just updated a couple of days ago, as you may know, to include like blogs and forums there already. So we now have a fully interactive community website for anything Liferay. But my point was to show you the projects page, which I have shown you in the beginning, and you will see soon enough for you here. And much like with any other product, when you click on it, there will be all the links, how to download it, where is the documentation, and everything relevant to it. So stay tuned. The moment it is released, we'll update the page, and you will be able to play with it yourself and figure out and ask more questions. We're also going to create a Slack channel, like a channel on our community Slack, where we could also ask questions to the commerce team directly and to their help. Anything else, drop us a line at any time. We are more than happy to hear from you. And finally, if you have idea of your own session, if there's something super cool, super interesting that you are doing with any of the products that we have or anything in the whole ecosystem, also drop us a line. We'll be more than happy to organize a session where you can present your stuff. And from me, that is everything for today. Thanks again, Marco. Thanks again, everyone who joined us live. I'll see you next time. Happy coding. Bye.